The 7 most devastatingly handsome actors of old Hollywood. What truly makes a man handsome? Is it perfect facial symmetry? A jawline so sharp it casts shadows? Or the kind of smile that makes people forget their own names? In the golden age of cinema,
Just said an horrible word.
What did I say?
these men were studios built entire marketing campaigns around their faces. Fan letters poured in by the thousands, and audiences sat in theaters mesmerized, not just by their talent, but by a beauty so striking, it seemed to transcend the human race. But here's what might shock you.
I'm not gonna start any trouble. Come on. You can just point to the door to me and I'll go
Even
there.
physical flaws they tried to hide. Some nearly lost their careers because of the very looks that made them famous. Others had accidents and tragedies that transformed their beauty in unexpected ways. Stay with us through this countdown, because while all 7 are unforgettable, our number 3 choice is so dangerously magnetic, audiences said just looking at him felt like falling in love against your will. Number 7. Gary Cooper, the silent seducer. Gary Cooper didn't need words to make women swoon. At 6'3", with broad shoulders and piercing eyes, he looked like he had been carved out of American granite. Costume designers used to say his tall, lean build made every suit look custom-made. His jawline was so strong, critics joked it could have been engineered for maximum impact. But here's the twist. Cooper was deeply insecure about his high-pitched voice. He deliberately spoke slowly and softly to disguise it, and that accident gave birth to Hollywood's most famous archetype, the strong, silent type. What audiences saw as effortless masculinity was actually clever self-defense. Even more surprising, Cooper hated his ears, believing they stuck out too much. Yet the camera disagreed. His weathered, athletic handsomeness suggested a rugged man of the outdoors. And unlike other stars, Cooper's strength wasn't built in gyms. He was a real rancher, and those were working muscles. What separated him from pretty boys was his authenticity. Women adored him not just for his face, but for the sense that he could actually protect them. Gary Cooper didn't just play a leading man, he was one. But what our next star did in front of a mirror for hours every day will shock you. Number 6. Montgomery Clift, the beautiful broken angel. Montgomery Clift's beauty was so ethereal that directors initially refused to cast him. His cheekbones looked sculpted from marble, his full lips defied traditional masculine ideals, and his enormous eyes carried a kind of sorrow that made audiences ache just looking at him. He embodied a fragile, almost otherworldly handsomeness. But here's what's shocking. That perfection almost ended his career before it began. Studios thought he looked too delicate to be believable as a tough leading man. Then tragedy struck. A near-fatal car crash left his face partially paralyzed. Elizabeth Taylor, his co-star and close friend, famously reached into his mouth to save him from choking on broken teeth. After the accident, his once perfect face changed. The left side no longer moved the same way, and symmetry was lost. Yet, instead of destroying his appeal, it only made him more compelling. The new Clift carried both beauty and tragedy, a combination so haunting that audiences couldn't look away. Montgomery Clift proved that handsomeness isn't always about mathematical perfection. Sometimes it's the flaws, the scars, the broken pieces that make someone unforgettable. But wait until you hear what secret our next actor was forced to keep hidden for decades. Number 5. Rock Hudson, the secret icon. If Hollywood could build the perfect man in the 1950s, he would look like Rock Hudson. Towering at 6'4", impossibly broad-shouldered, with a jawline that could slice steel, Hudson was the studio's crown jewel. His deep, velvety voice and disarming smile made women weak in the knees. He was the fantasy boyfriend of an entire generation. But behind that flawless exterior was a truth so dangerous, Hudson spent his entire career hiding it. At a time when rumors could destroy reputations, he was forced to live a double life. Privately, he was a gay man in a Hollywood that demanded he play the role of the ultimate heterosexual heartthrob. Studios even arranged fake dates and romances to protect the image. And yet, perhaps that secret only deepened his allure. For fans who saw through the mask, Hudson's handsomeness wasn't just physical, it was heroic. A man carrying the burden of 2 lives. projecting grace and charm all the while. Even today, Rock Hudson is remembered not just as devastatingly handsome, but as a symbol of courage, resilience, and the complexity behind Hollywood's glossy facade. But our next star's beauty was so precise, even scientists studied his face. Number 4. Robert Redford. The mathematical marvel. Robert Redford looked like golden sunlight had been bottled into human form. Blonde hair that never seemed messy, sparkling blue eyes that carried both innocence and mischief, and a physique that somehow managed to stay athletic well into his 60s. What set him apart, though, was his facial structure. Redford's features were so perfectly aligned they matched the golden ratio, the mathematical formula of ideal beauty. Scientists pointed to his eyes, nose, and mouth as textbook examples of proportional perfection. But here's what shocked Hollywood. Redford's looks weren't studio-made. His muscles came not from gyms, but from mountain climbing, skiing, and river running. His tan wasn't makeup. It was real sun, earned on dangerous adventures. He was a natural athlete, performing his own stunts, even ones professional stuntmen turned down. Redford wasn't just handsome, he was the definition of the real deal. His beauty wasn't manufactured, it was lived. That authenticity made him magnetic, and it's why women didn't just swoon over his looks. They admired his spirit. But what happened to our next star at just 24 will leave you breathless. Number 3. James Dean, the beautiful time bomb. James Dean's beauty was dangerous because it came with an expiration date. Compact, athletic, and filled with restless energy, he looked like a storm in human form. His tousled hair seemed to fall perfectly chaotic. His mouth could switch from vulnerable to defiant in a second, and his eyes, they pierced right through the screen. But here's the shocking part. James Dean was nearly blind without glasses. That iconic, intense squint that became his signature? It was because he couldn't see clearly. Instead of weakness, it turned into one of the most powerful stares in film history. Dean's beauty was a paradox, rebellious yet fragile, masculine yet boyish. And his tragic death at just 24 sealed his legend. Every photograph, every scene he ever filmed feels electric because it carries the weight of finality. James Dean didn't just embody handsomeness. He embodied the fleeting, dangerous kind of beauty that burns so brightly it can't possibly last. Number 2. Paul Newman, the blue-eyed miracle. Paul Newman's face was flawless, but it was his eyes that made him immortal. A piercing blue so rare, geneticists estimated less than 0.1% of humans possess it. Directors said they didn't even need special lighting. Newman's eyes lit up the camera all on their own. Here's the incredible twist. Newman himself couldn't fully appreciate them. He was colorblind. He couldn't even see the shade of blue that drove audiences wild. Standing 5'9" with the physique of a natural athlete, Newman carried his beauty gracefully into old age. Even in his 70s with silver hair and racing overalls, he remained captivating. His secret was discipline. Newman didn't just rely on genetics. He lived intensely, racing cars at terrifying speeds, staying fit, and constantly challenging himself. Those impossible eyes, set in a face with bone-structured perfection, made him the gold standard of masculine allure. But Newman's legacy proves beauty isn't just surface level. It's about drive, passion, and the way someone carries themselves through life. Number 1. Cary Grant, the golden ratio of handsomeness. Cary Grant wasn't just handsome, he was mathematically perfect, standing 6'2", with shoulders exactly 1.618 times wider than his waist. The golden ratio itself, Grant embodied architectural beauty. His brown eyes, graceful movements, and impeccable style made him Hollywood's ultimate gentleman. But here's the shocking part. Grant hated his most iconic feature, his dimpled chin. He once asked a surgeon to remove it, calling it a nuisance to shave. The doctor wisely refused. That cleft chin went on to become one of the most recognizable and adored features in cinema history. Grant's beauty wasn't just about symmetry. He moved like an acrobat, fluid, confident, and magnetic. Dentists even used his x-rays as an example of perfect bite alignment. Everything about him seemed designed to be flawless, and yet beneath the perfection was humility. Cary Grant often doubted his own looks, never realizing he had become the very definition of masculine beauty for the entire world. To this day, when people talk about the ideal man, they are unknowingly describing Cary Grant. These 7 men weren't just movie stars, they were living legends. Some had beauty so perfect it seemed unnatural. Others had flaws that made them even more irresistible. But all of them set standards we're still chasing today. From James Dean's tragic intensity to Paul Newman's impossible eyes, from Rock Hudson's secret burden to Cary Grant's mathematical perfection, old Hollywood gave us men who redefined what it means to be handsome. So now it's your turn. Which of these stars left you breathless? And who do you think deserves to be remembered as the most handsome man of all time? One thing is certain, they don't make them like this anymore.